Workplace relationships are not just social interactions, they're deeply rooted in our biology. And neuroscience can provide us with some valuable insights into how our brains function in social settings, helping us to understand the underlying mechanisms of connection and trust and collaboration. So the key regions of the brain, a couple of key regions in the brain that are actually involved in workplace relationships. The first one, our prefrontal cortex, PFC, as it's often referred to, and that sits immediately behind your forehead. And the prefrontal cortex is where all our higher level cognitive functions, such as decision making, planning, and managing of our social behaviour. It plays a crucial role in understanding social cues and regulating emotions and controlling those impulses, which obviously are essential for effective workplace interactions. The other part of the brain is the amygdala. Now, the amygdala is based very much in the kind of deep down in the core of the kind of the brain. It's a little, very small kind of almond shape part of the brain. And the amygdala, sometimes referred to as our brain's fear center, because it's involved in processing emotions, particularly fear and anxiety. And in social situations, it helps us to assess potential threats and then react accordingly to it. Now, if we get a hyperactive amygdala, if people don't feel safe in the working environment, psychologically safe as well as physically safe, then that can lead to a hyperactive amygdala. And a hyperactive amygdala can lead to heightening our stress and anxiety, which again hinders effective communication, collaboration, and building of those strong relationships. Something else that we've learnt from science is about a specialized type of brain cell called a mirror neuron. And they play a crucial part in social interaction and relationship building. Now, these neurons fire both when we perform an action ourselves and when we observe someone else performing the action. This means that mirror neurons actually allow us to essentially mirror the actions and the emotions of other people. Now, that's essential for empathy and understanding. And when we see someone else experiencing emotions such as, let's say, joy, sadness, then our mirror neurons fire in the same way as if we were experiencing that emotion ourselves. And this allows us to share in and experience the emotions of others, which again is essential for that strong bonds, building strong relationships and bonds. Another function for mirror neurons is they play a role in imitation and learning. When we see someone else perform an action, our mirror neurons fire, and that allows us to simulate that action in our own minds. And that can help us to learn new skills and behaviours, which can obviously be beneficial then, both in our personal and professional lives. And finally, mirror neurons help us to understand the intentions and motivations of others. Because when we simulate the actions of another in our own mind, it can help us to understand why that person is doing what they're doing. It allows us to understand the other person's perspective. So in conclusion, mirror neurons allow us to empathise with others, to imitate their actions and understand their intentions, which again are all helping us to build these deeper level connections. There are also three key neurochemicals involved in workplace relationships. The first one, oxytocin, often referred to as a love hormone. And oxytocin plays a crucial role in bonding and attachment. It promotes feelings of trust, cooperation, and social connection. And oxytocin is released when we have these positive social interactions with one another. When we give someone a hug, now I'm not suggesting we all go around hugging one another in the workplace, a handshake, or even just positive eye contact actually triggers the release of oxytocin. The second neurochemical, dopamine. Now, dopamine is associated with reward and motivation, and that's released when we experience something as being pleasant, or we perceive something as being pleasant or positive, such as receiving praise or recognition. And the last neurochemical at work is cortisol. Now, cortisol is our stress hormone, and this is released in response to threats or challenges. So when there are kind of poor workplace relationships, when we perhaps don't feel psychologically safe at work, when we don't feel valued at work, then cortisol can be released as part of our stress response. And high levels of cortisol can impair our cognitive function, decision making, emotional regulation, and that then can go on to have a negative impact on our relationships. And here in the science, there's one kind of other thing I just want to touch on, because it does play a major part, or it certainly has a big influence, can have a big influence on our workplace relationships, and that's in-group, out-group. Because in-group, out-group can lead us to favouring people we perceive to be similar to ourselves and discriminating against people we perceive as being different and belonging to our out-group. So when we perceive an individual as being part of our in-group, then they tend to get more support from us. They perhaps, if they're one of your team members, they perhaps get better opportunities from you. They're perceived as being more favourable. We tend to kind of downplay their mistakes and upplay their strengths and their contribution. People that we perceive, though, as being part of our out-group, these are the people that we're more likely to have a negative bias towards, and we tend to discriminate if we're not careful. So they may be subject to negative stereotyping. Their strengths may be overlooked or downplayed, but their weaknesses and any mistakes they made tend to be played up. So those negative biases associated with the outgroup tend to lead to increased hostility and conflict within the organisation. There's reduced trust, collaboration, morale, engagement decreases. And the other big thing as well is it also can limit our diversity of thoughts. So as an organisation, we can be missing out on some of that diversity, innovation and creativity that we get when we value the diversity, differences within a team.